What is going on, everybody? Welcome in for the Monday live show. This is the Tim Warren channel, and we are live here. It is August 25th, and boy, oh boy, what a fun weekend if you were a crypto holder. And by the word fun, I mean not so much, because there was a pretty sizable correction to the downside, which is going to cause two reactions. Some of you out there right now are freaking out. Was that the top? Was that last little manipulated move to the upside just to get rid of liquidity up top? And now we're about to enter into a prolonged bear market? Or is what we're seeing happen over the weekend simply a bear trap in play? In today's video, I'm going to tell you why I believe it is the latter. And I have been buying the dips, and I'm going to continue to buy the dips because the bull market is far, far, far from over. If you disagree, let me know in the chat right now why I am wrong. But if you agree, you got to smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribed. Listen, I verified the other day with our analytics. Make sure I didn't unplug the mic right there. Verified with the analytics. We're getting some increased views, right? Love it. Love the attention. Love the likes and the comments. But 30% of you watching right now, whether you're watching live or you're watching it back, you're not subscribed to the channel. It's free. It's a click of the button. It's this little muscle right here in your index finger. Most of you on your right hand. I know some people might use a left-handed mouse, but that's weird. Use a right-handed mouse. Just click the subscribe button right there. It really does help us out and allows us to keep reaching more and more people. And if you don't like us, just hit it to spite us so you can see our video pop up every single day, and you can come in here and leave some sort of comment about how wrong we are. I appreciate it anyway. That being said, I'm excited about today's show. Not a lot of news, but a lot of good discussion, a lot of good charts, and a lot of time, I think, today to answer some of your guys' questions. I'm trying to save more time in the live shows for some Q&A. So if you're excited about that, drop a 1 in chat. Just let me know you're excited about that one. I got a team here, though. It's not just me. I got my team here. As always, I got Smay, I got Shrum. Now, Smay, you are always giving us a great answer about how you're doing, but I already know you're doing well. I'm just going to let the people know you're doing well. I want you to tell us one thing about Smay that the listeners might not know.
Tim, you really just jumped the gun there because, Tim, I'm doing terrible. No, today's been the worst day of my entire life, and I just don't know how much more days that I can bear. But at the very least, if you want to hear a fun fact about me, the most fun fact about me is, man, there's so many, actually. It's so hard to choose. Probably the funnest fact about me is that I am... yeah, so Tim, that's probably the funnest fact about me. Yeah. But anyways, back to you.
All right. I don't know what I was expecting, but that's about it. Shrum, how are we doing, my friend? How are you doing? What's one fun thing about you that people don't know?
I am doing well, Tim. And one interesting thing about me is that I have a dog that is 12 years old. It's a very old dog, but we're keeping her going. And she's still drawing hair, and so that is good.
If that's the most interesting thing about you,
I don't think
T-shroom stock.
We just said one interesting thing. One interesting. Have you thought of your interesting thing, Smay?
I already said it. Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, right. Okay. If you really want to know, enough being silly. Okay, we just want to hear an interesting thing about me, guys. I have a dog who is 1.5 years old. Only 1.5, and she is a mix between an Irish setter and a poodle. Wonderful little dog. That is the one fun fact about me. Another one is that I have no other pets. Okay. And another one is I actually have a neat little painting on the wall that you can barely even see right there.
Okay. Thank you, Smay, so much. You definitely do not have a fan in Annika. Don't think that Annika is a fan of the Smay whatsoever. You know what, Annika, give him another chance. You know, if I've learned one thing about working with Smay for all these years, it's that you just got to give him another chance. Even after he's disappointed you 447 times, just one more chance, and he'll find a way to turn it all around if you keep giving your love to Smay. Let's get into the details here, though, of the show. Let's talk crypto for a little bit. Let's take a look at the daily bubbles here. Not what people really want to see. It's a sea of red. This red actually pretty much happened all weekend, but you can see a lot of altcoins down in the 10, somewhere between 7 to 10%. You know, Lido's down here 13%. That's one of the heavier losses there. Ondo's down about 10. Arrow, our beloved Arrow, after an amazing rally, down 11% right there. Near's down 10%, Atom's down 6%. I mean, I could go through pretty much everything. Like I said 7 to 15% is a consistent downward play here for the altcoin space. It's Bitcoin, the chart though that's going to be very interesting here. That kind of dictates what's happening here. Bitcoin came down to a low we hadn't seen here in a couple of weeks. You have to go all the way back to the early days of July, back around the 8th and the 9th, to see that over the weekend we got back down below 111,000 on Bitcoin. Now, what's funny is these are actually levels we talked about coming back down to back in here earlier, like in late July. We talked about the daily smart trail being hit. And even though we skimmed it right there, we have spent a good amount of time once again at these lower levels. And, even though we started to print a little bit of a green dot on that Bitcoin daily chart, a gray dot has come in once again over the weekend. So could this get worse? That's going to be the question people are asking. I'm going to tell you why I do believe this is a bear trap from a fundamental perspective a little bit later. But let's just kind of focus on the charts. Right now, there's a lot of confusion. The charts are explaining the pullback here. When you come all the way out to the weekly chart, we've been warning this one for a little bit. Bitcoin, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. That's a weekly sell signal. And right now, as we're kind of playing with that daily smart trail, if we lose, I think as long as we stay above 108, give or take, 107.7 is the technical level, but as long as we stay above this blue smart trail, there's a real chance that Bitcoin bottoms out here and continues to the upside. But if that gets lost, I do think people should be prepared again for that weekly smart trail, which still is climbing, but it's going to be somewhere in that world of 100,000, maybe a little bit below, maybe a little bit above. But that weekly smart trail, according to the weekly sell signal, is still something to keep an eye on when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, the other thing about all of this is we are sitting on some news that the charts right now, if I was not going to pay attention to the world whatsoever, if I wasn't paying attention to news and some of the things we're going to talk about later in this video, I would tell you this is just about a sure thing. That this chart, this weekly sell signal, is a very consistent and reliable sell signal historically during this bull market. But what it's always been paired with is extreme negativity, right? So as the weekly sell signals have come in before here, let's go back, example, into late January and early February, what happened in this time period was tariffs came in and it really started to booger the market. We weren't going to get rate cuts. Tariffs are going to bring this massive inflation. There was this very big concern and fear. Could the tariffs even send us into a recession, right? So not only do we have a weekly sell signal on the charts, the news itself was also wrapped in all of this extreme negativity and unknown future, right? We didn't know what was going to happen in the future. Same thing if you go back here into March area of 2024. After the big rally of ETFs, you get yourself this weekly sell signal, a bearish reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. Well, what also happened during the summer of 2024, we weren't certain about the economy at this point. There was a question, are we going to enter into a major recession? Will Donald Trump win the election? And we thought he was going to be good for the crypto markets. Or will we see a Biden or Kamala presidency? Will Japan even survive the year with their carry trade? All the fear, uncertainty, and doubt mixed with the weekly sell signal did bring us down into the weekly smart trail, and we found support and continued on with the bullish momentum to the upside. The difference in this situation right now is while we're getting those bearish indicators, the news that we are sitting on right now, the concept of more than likely, barring some sort of crazy data, and we'll talk more about that data in a little bit, barring some sort of horrible data, we're seeing the CME give us an 84% chance of a rate cut now for September rate cut. We're seeing Polymarket say a 75% likelihood of a rate cut right here. Everything is pointing towards a rate cut. September 5th and September 11th, when we get the next unemployment and the next inflation data, could have a sway in that. But everything we know right now, the most recent comments from Jerome Powell and the Fed are that rate cuts are coming. So why are we dipping? That's where the bear trap really does come in here. If we can convince the average person of a colossal break to the downside based on these charts, which again, we have those convenient weekly sell signals, the bearish divergence, the red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. There's a lot of people out there that blindly follow the charts and probably have some shorts in place to trade down below $100,000. This is where things are going to get very interesting, because now all of a sudden you're going to start looking for, well, where are the liquidations telling us that we should be going? You can see billions of dollars were liquidated over the weekend. Lots of longs from people who were extremely bullish who thought that we were heading for the mountaintops. They put in long positions, and the market makers, the composite man, they said, you know what, bet. We have this good news, but we're going to bring the boat back. We're going to wipe out all these trades. We could keep wiping them out all the way down here towards 108. But after that, you're going to start seeing a thing, especially on longer time frames, where the liquidations in the short term are going to start going away. It's going to start brightening up here. Definitely there's some big spots up here at 117, but I think you go to longer time frames here. Honestly, let's go down the 1 hour chart. You're going to start seeing some pretty bright spots to the upside. There we go. There's a big one here at 117, but there's other ones building up here, back up towards all-time highs. Don't be surprised if we actually end up getting some form of a bear trap, even on the charts. What you're going to be looking for is, do the shorter time frame start turning? I already told you the daily time frame right now, the daily chart, it showed us a slight sign of positivity on Friday, and now it's showing us weakness again. We're still sitting under a longer weekly sell signal at the moment on the weekly chart. Can we see a flip happen on lower time frames? Well, what is happening on lower time frames? Right now, I go to the 4 hour chart, you are starting to see a green reversal, bullish momentum, and a sway of money flow going to the upside. You're also, when you take a look at the RSI, seeing that we're putting in higher lows here on these bottom positions on the 4 hour chart. Coincidentally, at the same time, though, we're putting in lower lows in price action. What do we call that? That's called bullish divergence. That's a very, very good thing if you're looking for possible reversals. I would not be surprised at all if over this weekend the volatility at least brings us back up towards 115.7, 116, and then we kind of decide at that point, do we make our decision? Another big thing before I continue, and I'm going to take a look at the stock market. I want to take a look at Ethereum, but let's go take a quick look at the Bitcoin CME chart, because this is another big one. For a long time, we've been focusing on the CME gaps that we create to the downside, right? So we had a big one here a couple of weeks ago. We had to come down and fill 116. We had another big one over here a couple of weeks before that. We had to come back down to 113. I saw a lot of people chatting and asking the questions here more recently. When are we ever, is it possible to set a CME gap to the upside? And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we did this weekend. I actually was rooting for this situation. On Friday, we closed the day at 116,800. We opened up today all the way down at 113,685. We technically opened it up last night, but you opened up today's daily chart at 113,685, which means we now have a gap to the upside that would also cause some bullish pressure to come up and hit those levels. And if that starts to happen, all of a sudden, if the momentum starts to come back, we could see a big swing to the upside. And the last thing I want to say before we move on to Ethereum is this trap situation. It's going to apply to everything else I talk about today. This is a very, very normal thing to happen. Let me tell the story of what's kind of going on with charts like Bitcoin or a chart like Ethereum, where Ethereum just hit new all-time highs on the news we got from the FOMC. This is a very classic situation where we received from very good news, okay? Very good news from the FOMC. The future is bright. And because of that news, the majority of us did not know it was coming. You know, there probably were some insiders who traded with that information, knowing Jerome Powell was going to be kind of dovish. But for the most part, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. Drop a 1 in chat if you were surprised by how Jerome Powell handled Jackson Hole. Put a 5 in chat if you were like, no, I expected him to be super dovish. I don't think I'm going to see a lot of 5s. Maybe we'll see some people lying about it. I think for the most part, most of us were surprised. But what happened? The price took off to the upside. The coins like Ethereum, let's go to like a 4-hour chart here. Coins like Ethereum just shot like a bottle rocket and hit new all-time highs. Well, guess what? When things like this happen that are surprising, it doesn't allow the institutions who control the whole market to get in on their preferred levels. So what do? They then come in and they sell off. They take profits at these levels because they want to discourage the markets and bring the price back so that they can buy the dip at those great levels, and then they let the market take off to the upside. But how do they do it? Right? So we get this great news, markets go up, they sell up here while everybody else is celebrating and saying, buy Ethereum right now, buy Chainlink right now, buy Bitcoin right now, we're taking to the moon. They sell, they bring the markets down, confusing every single one of us. We don't understand why things are crashing. And all of a sudden, as the articles start coming out, yeah, that was probably the top, everybody. Oh, we have a lot lower to go. Secretly, they're accumulating these levels. And then while you're ditching your bags, you end up selling a local bottom and the price shoots back to the upside. This is a tale as old as time. If you have been with us in the crypto investing game for, let's just even say 1 year, right? We've been doing this channel for, are we coming up on 3 years? Holy cow. We started this at the bottom of 2022. We're coming up on 3 years as a channel. We've been in this game, Shrum, Smay, and I, we've been in this game for 5 years now, creating crypto content. The amount of times we have seen this misdirection manipulation play after fantastic news, like what we heard on Friday, it's a tale as old as time. And I have a sneaky suspicion. I'm not promising you the bottom is in just yet, but I do believe what we are witnessing happen right now is a shakeout. It is a, hey, we got a great piece of news. Whales didn't get to buy it. Institutions didn't get to buy it. They're bringing the boat back, and they're going to get their fill. And then, boom, we're taking off to the upside. Let me know in chat if you agree with that or if you disagree. Let's take a look at some other things here before I dive into Ethereum. Bitcoin dominance over the weekend did break below our short-term target of 58%. We dropped all the way down to 57. I think we went lower than that. Sometimes these charts get all over the place here. Let's see what the exact bottom was. We got down to about 57, 53. I thought at one point I thought 57, like 20 something, but maybe not. That's still low, right? On the macro time frame, this was a target that we have been calling for since way back here in early August. We talked about the bear flag pattern. We talked about that short-term 58% target. Boom, it was hit. Now, there is a little bit of bullish divergence here at the moment. This is showing us at the moment as Bitcoin dominance is dropping, clearly. I mean, Bitcoin's below 112,000, but ETH is still sitting at 45. I mean, just look at these charts for a second. Look at the pullback that's happened here over the last couple of days. ETH clearly with some higher lows, Link, higher lows, Arrow, higher lows, Bitcoin, lower lows, right? So Bitcoin right now is oversold. That's why Bitcoin dominance is dropping. So I'm not surprised at all to potentially see a little bit of a bounce back. You do have positive money flow coming in here. You do have bullish divergence. I'm not going to say we get all the way up here, but if we got back up to 60%, maybe a little above 60%, that to me is not the end of the world. That's still a part of a longer journey down towards, 50 to 45% for Bitcoin dominance. But this is just a continual sign that even throughout the chaos over the weekend, Bitcoin dominance still plummeting. Bitcoin dominance hitting lows we haven't seen since all the way back in January. These are the levels and the evidence that keeps pouring out that altcoin season is in the early stages. And guess what stage that is? That stage is called the Ethereum rally. I don't think there's any coin out there right now over the grand scheme, right? You have Arrow and Chainlink and a couple other small coins that have picked up some dominance from Bitcoin more recently, but ETH over the last month and some change is the real champion. And that's how it always plays. ETH running up and stealing dominance from Bitcoin always comes right before the explosive altcoin season. This has nothing to do with the 4-year cycle. So anyone who's saying, Tim, I thought you didn't believe in the 4-year cycle. This isn't 4-year cycle. This is market psychology. I have Bitcoin, the really big player, the top dog of crypto. It's made me a lot of money. It hit new all-time highs at historically fast records. It's over $120,000. Let me take some profit. Let me cool off on putting my dry powder in Bitcoin and go find another legitimate long-term bullish project to pour my money into. That's named called Ethereum. Then I get Ethereum to run up and break to new all-time highs and start to smash the resistance. And then I go and look at the other altcoins that have true utility that are underpriced and I invest in them. It's just a simple trickle of how can I make money the best. Make money in Bitcoin, run it up, come back down, make money in Ethereum, run it up, come back down, make money in my altcoins. That's what altcoin season looks like. That's not the 4-year cycle. That's simple market psychology of people who know how to make money and want to make money. That's how they move. ETH, though, is getting a nice pullback here. Again, after jumping up here, we didn't quite touch 5,000. We got to like 49.50. We're pulling back now. Some of that is, again, we've ignored the daily sell signals, but you can see the money flow is still flowing negatively here on the daily chart. I did upgrade this, and for some reason, it made my dot smaller. So we got to fix that really quickly. Reversal down is the one I want right here. Oh, we got to fatten both these. Let's fatten these. Got to get those dots fatter so they're visible for everybody. There we go. Reversal, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. So we ignored this sell signal, right? That sell signal would have been a failure. We do have another one. What does that signal and mean? It means even though we didn't make it down there last time, ETH in theory could be pulling back all the way back down towards 4,000. Again, I wouldn't be making any bets on that. That's going to be something chart-wise that people are looking at and saying, hey, keep an eye on this, but I'm going to continue to keep my eye on potential reversals coming in on charts like the 4-hour chart. Notice here, we had a nice sell signal on the 4-hour chart back in here. We've now touched that 4-hour smart trail, and we're not seeing the reversals just yet, right? We're not seeing buy signals come in, but you're absolutely seeing a green reversal and some slowing down of that oscillator movement. It's called the hyper wave, is the technical name from Luxalgo, but it's starting to slow down a little bit. I think it's down here when we get towards the 1-hour chart that you're starting to see some positivity. Now, this has turned on us a little bit. Earlier today, it was doing a little bit better. We had some good calls on it, but where we're sitting at the moment is actually a very advantageous spot. You can see ETH has put in a lower low on the 1-hour chart. It's cleanly broken that 1-hour smart trail, but the oscillator is still sitting a little higher than those lows that were marked earlier this morning. What does that mean? It means watch out for a potential divergence, a bullish divergence on the ETH 1-hour chart. Again, I'm not promising you the bottom's in just yet. There's a lot of things that have to play out, but start to watch for some buy signals to sneak up on lower time frames. That 1-hour, let's get that confirmed bullish divergence. Let's let that trickle into the 4-hour. Let's let that trickle into the 8-hour. And before you know it, all of a sudden, do we do a thing that bull markets do? Ignore another daily sell signal and end up taking back off to the upside. With that said, just so you guys know, I do have buy signals on Ethereum down here at $4,000 just in case the daily sell signal does play out. But there's a part of me that doesn't feel like I'm going to get that lucky to be able to purchase Ethereum at $4,000. I just have it for that just in case scenario. It's something I would probably recommend for the majority of you to have as well. Speaking of some other coins with amazing runs going on, Chainlink, we knew at some point it needed a little bit of a lower low coming in here. You can't just keep rallying up high forever. We did kind of break some lows we said a couple of days ago here. This is another one. Again, daily sell signal. I got a buy signal coming in here around 2170. But it's another one that I'm kind of sitting here watching and saying, hey, just keep an eye on these lower time frames. You got that reversal dot coming in on the 4-hour chart. You're sitting on top of that smart trail. If I go to the 1-hour chart, again, this looks like a little fake out because earlier today we did get bullish divergence. But I would start to look for some trickle effects happening. Can we get some wins on the 1-hour chart? Can those wins trickle and give us some bullish divergence on the 4-hour? And all of a sudden, again, come back over here. Let's just take a look here at some recent sell signals from Chainlink. This one right here, failure, right? That's a clear bearish divergence, clear sell signal. We didn't get anywhere close to the smart trail. This one did work out back in July, but during bullish rallies, it's very normal to ignore daily sell signals. Could we see that end up happening again? Let's track it over the little bit here. I will say one thing that I will kind of point out about Chainlink that the fake out didn't do. The MACD does look right now like we're crossing, that daily MACD is crossing bearish. So that does give me a little bit of saying like, hey, 2170 does seem a little bit more plausible with a MACD confirmed cross there. But stay on your toes there. Like I would tell you right now, anything buying below $30 is good. So even if you guys said, hey, I bought the dip today, guys, buying at 24 is way better than buying up here at 27. And if you can get away with a $21 or a $22 purchase as well, which potentially is on the table here for this manipulative pullback, I think that would be a massive, massive success if you're looking to hold Chainlink and buy it long term. You know, we said all of this. Again, I talked earlier here in the show. We already talked about the Fed Watch tool. Is the Fed Watch tool changing? Are we seeing anything predict that rate cuts are off the table? No, we're continuing to see that we're picking up steam there. We also are going to talk about this next story. This is one of the reasons why I think a bear trap is in order. This next story up here, but I want to stop here for a second, Shrum. And I think it's really good if we kind of make sure we describe this as well, because I think I've said the term bear trap a couple of times. I think I've even explained it during this live show, but I think we need to slow down just in case there's somebody in here that's a little lost. Again, I know that we haven't gotten the masses in. It's not a bunch of new people. We don't have massive euphoria, but I do know from some comments we've gotten recently, there are some newer listeners who they've maybe been investing for a couple of months, but they're like, we need to go deeper. We need to learn more. I want to teach you a little more. If you've been hearing this expression bear trap and it's confusing you, I'll explain it in a nutshell. Ultimately, a bear trap is when price action is falling and it's not necessarily really explainable other than you're seeing your portfolio go down. The bear trap is put in place by market manipulators. We call them the composite man. The large entities, large companies that control the media, they control social media, they're paying even some influencers out there to push their ideals, they want you to be bearish and sell when they want to buy, and they want you to buy when they want to sell. Well, a bear trap is the price is coming down. They're going to start printing some things to discourage you. They're going to start highlighting all of the things coming that would encourage you to keep selling. All the while, they're secretly buying the dip. And then all of a sudden, as you sell and get out of your positions, they buy it up and the price takes off and you're left out of the rally. Right? So a bear trap, fast move down that corrects and shoots to the upside while the whales win and the the retail investors lose out. That's a bear trap. It's a manipulative move that I do believe is in play. And one of the reasons why is because of a story like this. I told you in the title, the whales are buying. Let's go back to my screen here. Satoshi Stacker put this over on his X account, I think today or this morning, or definitely over the weekend. We found it this morning. He said the whale who just recently sold $1 billion of Bitcoin, right? So you hear this story out there. Oh, a whale just sold $1 billion of Bitcoin. Go ahead and sell all your crypto. The top is in, right? That's the narrative being pushed. Let's dig deeper. Why did he sell that Bitcoin? He sold the Bitcoin and rotated it into ETH and has now started to close on their $250 million ETH long positions across multiple wallets. Holding 100,000 Bitcoin for 7+ years just to rotate it into Ethereum for a quick swing trade is a crazy strategy. So he's not selling Bitcoin because the top is in. He's exchanging Bitcoin for Ethereum. And he's no, fresh chicken. This wallet's been live for 7+ years. This wallet knows what it's doing. Anybody with $1 billion of any asset, let alone $1 billion of Bitcoin, they know a thing or two about a thing or two. They are swinging into Ethereum. Why? Because they realize the time is ripe. Going a little further, there was a little bit more update. And Shrum, you might have more on this. So if you want to kind of pick up with this and keep going, Arkham kind of highlighted on this same person. He said this trader that made $50 million on ETH, that's $50 million in profit, and withdrew it to buy even more ETH. So this wallet, people were tracking it, and they said, oh, well, yeah, maybe it sold its Bitcoin to go into Ethereum, but then it sold its Ethereum to take profit. What did it do with those profits? It's buying the dip. As Ethereum is pulling back, it's buying the dip. I could keep reading this. It goes into all the details of the wallet. If any of you are deep enough, you want to follow Arkham and follow this link, be my guest. I think we posted this link over in our Discord if you're looking for it. But Shrum, can you go a little deeper? Am I getting this right? Am I missing something? What is going on here with this story and this Bitcoin whale who's going big on ETH right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's somebody who's clearly feeling confident and wanting to make moves, potentially rotate out of Bitcoin to stay out of Bitcoin. That's potentially what they want to do. That's at least how some folks might want to spin it to you. The other example is that they're buying Ethereum low to sell it higher so that they can rotate back into Bitcoin and buy even more Bitcoin, right? Now, if I had $1 billion in Bitcoin, I don't know that I would be this casual with this amount of money that I'd be trading on Hyperliquid, but this is someone who clearly is confident. Now, it could be somebody who is an ancient whale and has been holding since 2011. It could be somebody who is working for Goldman Sachs, right? Who's trying to spin up some true facts about a trade so that media outlets can go and spin it one way or the other. Regardless of what's going on here, it's exciting, right? It's getting people interested and it's giving folks a reason to make sense of why Bitcoin wicked down over the weekend. And it did have a lot to do with this trader who sold some Bitcoin. But has anything changed about Bitcoin? Has anything changed about the protocol that Bitcoin is built on? Has anything changed about Michael Saylor and Strategy's Bitcoin buying policy? I don't think anything has. But if you're someone who's been in crypto for more than 5 minutes, you find this to be interesting, and so do I. And so it's bringing more people, more eyes, more attention, more energy into the space. And so, folks are going to try to trade on it. But ultimately, I think what's really more important is that the markets did not know what to do today. Right? They just didn't know what to do with themselves, trying to digest this huge curveball that Jerome Powell throwed at us. It's like, how do you take a crack at that? Well, you do your best you can. You take a swing, and some whales are very well positioned. It's almost like they knew it was going to happen, and they just hit a home run here, make a bunch of money rotating out of Bitcoin into ETH. So I'm not super surprised that this is going on. Might be scared if you're hearing this for the first time. Ooh, an old Bitcoin holder is selling their Bitcoin for ETH. May not make sense. Similar to what Tim was talking about earlier, it's not the first time that we've seen this, but it's very difficult for us to monitor these types of things all the time. What whales are holding what are they exchanging for? This one happened to float to the surface because of the big dollar amount attached to it, but it was Crux that brought it to us. If you go to my screen, Crux has a video coming out on his YouTube channel titled this, Kita, Google's Visa and Solana Killer, full 2025 deep dive. And that is coming out at right when this goes, when this live stream ends at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you go check it out over there at Crux of Crypto YouTube channel. He's the one who's down in the trenches doing all of the crypto Web3 research here and making sure that we are kept up to date on things that are going on down there at those levels. So whereas Tim and I are kind of up here on the macro, making sure that we're keeping our head around things that Jerome Powell's doing, what's going on with them too, what's going on with them one, and different things like that. So Tim, that's kind of my perspective there on that whale movement.
You know what's crazy though is not just that, because I think some people will be like, okay, cool, you know, some whales are buying ETH, because clearly they are. Like that's the important thing to remember here. Is as we help you walk through bear traps, bull traps, manipulation, who is the composite man and what does the composite man do? Something important to take away from here is when you're studying and researching the space, make sure you understand what is facts and what is opinion, right? A lot of people out there giving opinions on bearish movements here. Some companies out there just throwing out opinions left and right. Like I saw earlier this week that Goldman Sachs is now predicting, you know, someone from Goldman Sachs is predicting 3 rate cuts by the end of 2025. That's just them predicting. It's their opinion. Last week, they predicted 0. So they're just throwing predictions out left and right. You can't listen to them. But there's a lot of stuff happening over the weekend with prices coming down. I've seen influencers, I've seen companies, I've seen sentiment in the space from just people commenting on posts turn extremely bearish right now. But these are all opinions. What you can't argue with, though, are facts. And that's what we just looked at with Arkham. We just looked at with Satoshi. We looked at some factual details. They're not trying to sway you one way or the other. They're not trying to convince you to buy or convince you to sell or telling you the top's in or the top's a long way away from day. Even myself, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I post my opinions all the time. You don't have to just listen to things because it's my opinion. My opinions, though, I would like to say are more often backed up with facts and reasoning, and which is why I give my opinions. I don't just pull them out of thin air and say, I just feel like being bullish today or feel like being bearish. Follow the facts, follow the data, follow the details. While people are turning a little bearish and saying, oh, we need to sell off here, that was the top. Look at what's happening here. We have a billionaire buying Ethereum and staking a lot of Ethereum. We also have a very large company, going back to my screen, going after Solana. Galaxy, Jump, and Multicoin are seeking a $1 billion. Sorry, they're trying to raise $1 billion to purchase Solana tokens. Solana had a fantastic weekend as well. This is not an opinion. This is not Galaxy, Jump, and Multicoin saying, hey guys, you guys should go buy Solana because we think it's going to get really big here soon. No, this is a news article saying they are about to buy some Solana. Why? Because they think that this asset overall is dramatically oversold. Let's go take a look at that real quickly. Yeah, Bitcoin, in case anyone's wondering, it is coming in down here at 111.5. I told you beforehand, wouldn't be surprised if this thing ends up dropping below 110 before it's all said and done. But we're looking at more macro right now. We're not doing scalp trading right now. If you want to scalp trade, come check out the VIP trading group. We are doing a whole lot of scalp trading. People are making a whole lot of money. I think I saw a message the other day that with one of our pro traders, Rufio, we had a guy in one trade on Ethereum make $7,500 in one little scalp trade. If you want to do that and make money like that, come check that out. Solana here on the daily chart, again, running into some resistance here more recently. We can't get above that daily smart trail. It's going to be very important to break above that and make some longer-term moves to withstand the longer-term weekly buy signals that have targets in the $300, $400 range. But when we look at Solana here, this is a great opportunity. I don't think it's over here, right? I think we're going to probably drop down lower. Let me look at some things here on the daily chart. I think this is a good spot right here around 170 to keep an eye on back at the equilibrium. I'm going to be keeping my eyes at this point. I know the longer time frames are a little bearish. I'm going to be watching things like this 4-hour chart where we're running into the smart trail. We're running into this breaker block. The next step down, 180 and 170, both going to be very interesting positions. But ultimately, it's going to be the oscillator. Can we start to get some bullishness here? Not on the 4-hour, All right, so that's not going to happen just yet. But can we start to trickle some bullishness? Maybe start off on the 1 hour down here, not in play here, right? We saw this on Bitcoin, we saw it on Ethereum. Solana's not so lucky. So I'm not buying right now. I'm very honest with you. I'm not buying right now. And to be fair, neither is our story over here with Galaxy Jump and Multicoin. They're looking to get 1 billion to buy. But if I'm trying to help you understand what to look for, they are looking at this chart as well. They're saying, okay, this isn't the bottom just yet. They're probably looking at these same levels, seeing the large large support levels like down here at 180, 170, and saying when we can get hold of that 1 billion, those are targets that we are looking at. The only reason we go lower than that is if for some reason, let's go check it to be sure. If we had a weekly sell signal way out here, I would be concerned, but we do not. Right, that money flow is still flowing positively. The highest level I'd be worried about is a daily sell signal. We're below the smart trail, which again gives me this equilibrium and fair value gap at 170. That's going to be a target that I would be looking for to buy. But in the same breath, we're at 192 right now. We have longer term targets on Solana of, I think some people think that we'd be happy just to get to 500. If you want to sell at 500, be my guest. I think Solana has a reasonable expectation of over $1,000 before this bull market's over. When you think about $1,000, 190 or 170 is not going to really change anything. What you do not want to see happen, if you don't own Solana, you don't want to see a bear trap happen where you have a buy signal coming in down here at 170 because that's a very good support level, and we only make it down here to 180, 185, and then the bear trap takes off. The whales don't let you know when they're buying. They buy before you're ready because you're convinced it's going lower, and then boom, you take off to the upside. In this case, I would be a big fan of probably having a couple buy levels, maybe one in here around that 180, 185 zone, and then another bigger one here on 170. And you know what? I can't promise you we don't go lower. So in case we go lower, 150's got a very nice, strong support level with an order block. I would also have a buy level ready to go here in that world of 154, 151, where we have an order block. Long story short, though, while the charts show us pullback probably is not over, dip is not over, be prepared, though, to watch sentiment and opinion say sell, 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 sell. Meanwhile, companies like these, Galaxy Jump and Multicoin, they got $1 billion and they're looking to buy soon. I am a big fan of following smart money. That means I'm looking to buy in here as well. The whales are buying. Be prepared this week. Dip probably not over. Not promising you the bottom's in. What I'm telling you is it's a lot closer than you think. We got some fantastic news last week, and this whole move to the downside that kind of doesn't make sense to the average brain, it's a manipulation move so that the whales can buy dips and you are left taking profit way, way, way too early because someone on the internet told you that Solana was crashing back down to $100 and Bitcoin was crashing back down to $60,000 and Ethereum was coming back down to $2,000. These are all tactics that you will see played out by the composite man to convince you not to buy and instead to sell all the coins that you've been holding, despite the fact that the bull market is far from being over. One more story I want to kind of end with here, and then we'll open up for some Q&A, but we do have a small discussion on this one because I think Shrum and I kind of see this different. So I'm very interested in your guys' thoughts on this as well, but there's a breaking story that involves XRP. Let me know if you're XRP Army in chat, and if you saw this, are you bullish, are you bearish? But Gemini is launching an XRP credit card. This is a partnership, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Shrum, is a partnership with MasterCard. Am I right about that, or is there somebody else?
I'm not sure. Good question. But
I
it's going to
think
be
it's
it's either MasterCard, Visa, or potentially Discover Card, but I think it's MasterCard too, yeah.
Yeah. So I saw this story and I'm just like, okay, one more great story of adoption, one more way to use XRP for the benefit of the chain. This is another reason why I'm very confident about XRP going above $10. And I think somewhere between $12 to $15 is very reasonable. Shrum, you had a little bit of a different thought, a little different take. Do you want to kind of dive into that on your side and give a case for why this might not be the greatest news for XRP holders?
Yeah, and it's MasterCard. Look, if I have branded my crypto project around being the service provider for the biggest banks in the world, for central banks, for JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs to be able to send and receive money from Barclays or HSBC and do this at an international level all day long, then why do I need to come down to the retail and offer you a credit card product? it just doesn't make sense to me that, again, if I'm XRP and I have all this money, I'm going to collect all these fees from huge banks, right? And my XRP is going to be the coin that is sent back and forth, and I guess my stable coin too. That was a recent spinoff. Why do I need to collect fees from credit cards down at the retail level? So that's kind of what rubs me the wrong way. It's almost like a signal of weakness. Like, hey, things aren't working out so well up here at the banking level that we thought we were going to do super well, so we're going to release this credit card. Seems a little bit exit liquidity for me, but I could be wrong, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't see it that same way. Like I understand kind of what you're getting at in the sense of saying, they kind of went really large after one area, and now it seems like they're diverting their attention. I actually see it, instead of a sign of weakness, I see it as a sign of strength. And what I mean by that is, I'm not an XRP maxi. If you guys are an XRP maxi in chat, we're glad you're here. I don't know why you're following us. In fact, I don't know. I would be surprised if any one coin maxi, Bitcoin maxi, ETH maxi, Cardano maxi, even Chainlink maxis, I probably won't make you very happy because I'm bullish on a lot of coins. But I listen to some of the maxi communities and I listen to the XRP community. And I think that the concept of XRP hitting $1,000 per coin is absolutely ludicrous. I think the concept of XRP surpassing Ethereum and Bitcoin in the next 5 years is ludicrous. However, that is the goals, the thoughts, the attention that XRP maxis have. And if I'm, working for XRP up top, if I'm an executive and I have an army of people behind me who think that's possible, I'm making those plays as well. Now, we know that XRP is working alongside a lot of coins. They're working alongside Chainlink. In recent days, over the weekend, we heard even further explanation about partnerships with like Cardano. At one point, XRP and Cardano communities hate each other. They're now working together. But in the world of XRP, they genuinely think that XRP is going to be the future of money. It's going to overtake Bitcoin. It's going to overtake Ethereum. It's going to be the number one everything worldwide when it comes to money. So again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying if that's my mindset, if I'm going to do that, I absolutely need to go after both the banks and the everyday person. I don't think it's a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of desired dominance to say, we'll catch you at the banking level. You can't go and do massive bank transactions without supporting and using the XRP blockchain. But also, you know what? You're not going to go around spending money on your credit card without using XRP. We are in everything. We have our fingers attached to everything. That's not weakness, that's dominance. And we went through a couple examples of this. I think I started off by saying, that's like saying Coca-Cola can't sell their drinks in Walmart because they're selling it to executive businesses and they just want the businesses to distribute it. I don't think you guys like that example, Shrum and Smay, but a better example would be, that's like saying Microsoft, who made their business, they built the foundation of the business on selling it to businesses. Like my dad was telling me growing up, you never had Microsoft in your home. You might have an Apple or something else, but it was the big businesses that had the Microsoft. Microsoft started selling to individuals as well. Microsoft is a large company. It's one of the largest companies in the world because they sell to the businesses, they sell to individuals. They want to dominate the software industry. It's not a sign of weakness to sell to individuals in a Best Buy. It's a form of dominance. They want to control the market. I think XRP is doing the exact same thing. I think XRP is saying, we are going to be the banker's coin, but if you thought we were stopping there and then everybody else was just going to go use some other coin on the downside, no, we're going to be the coin of the banks. We're going to be the coin of the people. We're going to dominate the entire space. There's not going to be a need for any other cryptocurrency out there. That's our goal. Now, again, I want to walk this back before anyone takes that clip and says, wow, Tim is a XRP maxi, and he just said it's going to take over the whole planet. No, I think other cryptos are going to exist. I don't think XRP is going to push out other cryptos, but I think XRP is going to do very well. I do think they're going to be a massive player in the banking world. And I do think this is a good step for them to also get into the credit card world and to get into the straight to consumer world, because the more and more people use XRP, the more fees will happen on their blockchain, the more it'll grow, the more the price will increase. Again, I don't see them doing everything they're setting out to do, but I understand their goals. And so that therefore, I see this whole move as a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness and giving up on the banking industry. Does that make sense, Shrum?
Yeah, no, it does. I think that's the other way to look at it. We both have our perspectives on this one. Ultimately, we think crypto is going a lot higher, and XRP will absolutely be one of the ships that rises with the rest of the tide.
Yeah. So, someone said, how many YouTubers are getting paid for promoting XRP? I don't know if that's an accusation. If they have been paying us, Shrum, then we need to call them up because it's not been hitting the bank whatsoever.
Yeah. Right.
We don't take coin sponsors like that anyway. But if that was the thought, man, we have not been paid a dime of that contract, and we could use it. We could use it a lot.
Yeah. Gonna need to get Darlinghouse on the phone if that's the case.
Yeah. Darlinghouse, come on, no. Listen. Even speaking of that, like if you guys are ever wondering, let's take a quick break. We got 1,100 people here watching. How many likes? Let me refresh this. It says 24 likes, but there's no way we only have 24 likes. 340 likes. So about a third, roughly a third. Guys, smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed. If you're ever wondering why we're so adamant about that, it's because it really does help the channel grow. It really helps the channel grow, and it also helps us pay some bills. Why do we have deals with companies like BloFin and Luxalgo? Why do we have a Discord group that has different levels of membership so that you guys can pay and learn more and go deeper in education? We have a heartbeat to teach people how to become financially free, not because we grew up with it. We're not just a bunch of rich kids who said, you know what, let's just make some money off some suckers on the internet. 5 years ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck. If you said, Tim, what's your retirement plan? I said prayer and fasting. And the fasting, some for religious reasons, others because I might not be able to afford food, right? That was my life 5 years ago. I don't know if Shrum was as poor as I was, because he did finish the top of his class in economics at the community college that him and I both attended. But I don't think that he was living the high life. Smay, we literally found in a gutter somewhere, didn't have clothes. And we all pulled ourselves up out of those gutters. And now all three of us are sitting here with plans for the future because of our investments in crypto, because of our learning on how to trade new things. We've learned how to pull ourselves up out of it. And we want to see that same story happen for other people. But again, it wasn't just like hey, should Tim just start his own channel, right? I know the name of the channel, we just switched it to Tim Warren. People ask all the time. It's a branding move, everybody. If you don't understand it, that's okay. It's long-term better for us. This is still an entire company with a full-blown team. Why? Because I didn't learn by myself. I had people sit down and teach me and grow my understanding of this and how it works. I didn't grow this business by myself. Shrum and I sat down 3 years ago and we took a big risk. We sat there and told our wives, hey, we believe we can build a channel that's large and we can support our families and teach thousands of people how to invest. Will you take this journey with us? And both our wives said, sure, let's take the risk. And boom, we have grown. But we didn't stop there. We've hired Crux. We've hired Smay. We have pro traders. We have customer service. We have editors. Why? Because we extremely, extremely value real, proper, unadulterated, unpaid for education, meaning no one's sponsoring us and telling us you have to teach this particular thought. We are trying to teach people with honesty, genuine details of the markets, both trading and long-term investing, to see success stories. So when you hear us say, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Hey, we have a partnership with a really cool company like BloFin, like Luxalgo. When you use these things, you're helping support a genuinely real channel that wants to see people succeed. And if you can't go trade on BloFin, if you can't buy Luxalgo, even if you can't afford the membership just yet, maybe you're still in the early stages of investing, you don't have $40 a month. That's okay. Smash like and hit subscribe and watch all of our content here daily. I think you will learn a whole lot just by watching our free content and joining our free Discord and watching our free Instagram and watching our free X account. All these things free. Just ask, smash the like and hit subscribe. If you want to learn more and go more in depth with real people, not just myself, I can't teach everything. I'm not a fundamental expert like Crux is. I'm not a stock expert like Shrum is. I'm not a scalp expert. I can't scalp well, but we hired scalpers because I'm a better day trader, swing trader. I look at the longer term moves. I said, you know what? I think a lot of people in our community want to learn how to scalp trade. Let's hire people who are better than me at scalp trading to teach those people. We are building an entire group, a team, a company for the purpose of, yes, we want to support our families. Yes, we want to pay some bills, but we also genuinely want to see people succeed. And I'm not going to call out any channels. I know a lot of great influencers in the space who are real just like us. I also know a lot of channels and influencers out there that are in it just for the money, and they'll take any sponsor that comes their way. And they really don't have any plans or ability to help anybody whatsoever. They just want to make a quick buck. There's so many channels out there like that. I know this space needs genuine, real, honest people. We're not always right. I'm not going to pretend and lie to you that we call everything perfectly. But every single call and every single thing we do it through a form of honesty, integrity, and don't take our word for it. Do your own research. And guess what? We'll teach you how to do that research so that you can think for yourself. Long pitch to say, smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you do like us and you're not tired of my soapbox and you have the desire to go deeper, come join the Tim Warren Trading Group. I think it's the best group out there. And it's not because of Tim Warren. My name's on it. My face is on it. But it's because it's a whole team of people who I genuinely believe are just like me. They're honest. They're integral. They're good at what they do. And they want to see other people succeed. Come check out that group if that interested you. All right. Shannon said, guys, I started with $300 with the Tim Warren Trading community, and that $300 is now $50K. I've learned so much. Come on. That's awesome. Glad to hear it, Shannon. I see Shannon over in Discord all the time, so shout out to Shannon as well. What are some of your guys' questions? What do you guys want to talk about right now? Honesty right now would be to say be careful with XRP. So we don't have an XRP fan here in I guess that's a North Georgia GAG. I don't know. I mean, give me your case. I mean, Shum had a small take for being careful with XRP. I don't think I would say be careful. I mean, I think you should be careful with everything you invest in. There's nothing as a lock. Even Bitcoin, there's a scenario. I'm going to put it in like the 0.1%, but it's technically a non-0% chance that Bitcoin crashes and burns and dies, right? There's always a chance that could happen. But I'll be honest with you. You ask me right now, Tim, which is more likely to fail, Bitcoin or the US dollar? Chat, what do you think? I mean, before I even say my opinion, which one is more likely to fail over the next 10, 15, 20 years? Bitcoin or the dollar? I'm going dollar. And that doesn't mean it goes to zero. It means I think that it would not be crazy to me if we lived in a world where milk was like $50 a gallon in the next 10 to 15 years with our model of inflation that we have. The dollar sucks. It is not going anywhere. I think Bitcoin's solution. I think there's a lot of crypto out there that's a solution. I think XRP is one of the big players out there. Let's go to my chart, though. Let's do some technical analysis here on XRP since we brought that one up. I don't know if this is one I would say the bottom is in. You know, I do think there's a nice bullish pattern in play right here that people should be tracking and paying attention to. Explosive movement here back in July. And right now you can clearly see a nice trending level of resistance. And then the question becomes, is this a rising level of support? That's going to be something very interesting to keep an eye on. But I would say as long as it kind of stays here above this 273, this could potentially end up being a bull flag pattern, with this explosion starting back here at $1.90 all the way up here to 367. That could suggest the next major breakout for XRP could be somewhere in the world of all the way up to 543. That being said, though, let's take a look at some other things going on here. Let's go on this daily chart. Not really a sell signal intact here on the daily chart. We do have negative money flow, but there's no recent red reversal. And I think at the moment we still have green dots. Coming to look at some other support in this same area, you're going to look here, equilibrium coming in right here on that support level here on 282. So I think 282 is an interesting longer-term buy level. If it does get dropped, the next major level I'd be keeping an eye on is around this 242 level where the breaker block is. Breaker blocks, by the way, we teach this in the trading group. Very strong support level. Not 100%. It's not a promise or guarantee, but it's a pretty strong support level. That big of a fallback, I think that's an interesting spot to keep an eye on. Again, just like the other ones, though, I'm going to keep an eye. What's happening on these lower timeframes, like 4 hour? Big order block coming in here on that 282 and 283 zone, right? So we just talked about that daily chart support level, a trend level of support level, 282, 283. Very interesting spot here for XRP. This is one, I'm not seeing bullish divergence, but I am seeing a trickle of a positive money flow and a green reversal coming in. So same thing. Let's wait and see. Let's see some positivity on lower time frames like the 1 hour chart. Not quite there yet. No buy signal necessarily, but let's see some positivity trickle on the 1 hour, trickle into the 4 hour. And then again, I think it's gonna be pretty big explosive move. The next time we get a good buy signal or a good positivity off the daily chart, just some higher highs and higher lows put back in. Maybe somewhere in the world back around 320. I think you're kind of off to the races there. I wouldn't be surprised the next step is that move up. I think I said 543 earlier, somewhere in that world of 540 for the next major breakout spot on XRP. I wouldn't be weary of it. I think XRP is a very strong project. I think people are going to say be weary just because it hasn't been the main coin recently. I think you're going to look at coins like Chainlink and Aerodrome and say, man, those coins are hot. Guys, go back to time periods. I mean, back here in July, XRP was a big story. Go back over here into the fall of 2024. If you went back in the fall of 2024, it was hard to argue with an XRP max who said that XRP was going to surpass Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum was barely moving and XRP was going berserk. I mean, in just a few short weeks, we watched the price of XRP increase by almost 500%. I think we're going to have another explosive move like that for XRP. I think it's going to be coming when we get rate cuts and when there's more clarity. But don't fall into the trap of thinking just because XRP hasn't had the top momentum right now, that is over. Again, Chainlink, a month ago, people were pooping on Chainlink and saying this coin's not going to make it. And now people are questioning, oh man, was Tim too bearish when he said $300 high for Chainlink, right? It's all a narrative thing. Don't fall into short-term stuff. Think about the long-term fundamental stuff. And we just told you the stories. XRP continue to make deals that kind of give you not just a good bullish rally for this weekend. We're talking about the next year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. They're setting themselves up for long-term success. I like to invest in those projects, not fade them. All right. You guys see anything else in chat? No, 356. Man, the time flew a little faster than I thought, but I'd like to answer maybe one or two more questions. Shrum or Smay, I'll let you guys choose. I think I've chosen the last couple. What are some questions you guys see in chat we should answer?
Oh, let's take a look here. Is this the September shakeout we are waiting for? I don't think so.
No,
it's not September
I don't think
yet.
so. Yeah, it's not September yet, and I would almost more say, you know, it's so crazy. People even saying that. Like Bitcoin right now, back down below 111. But go to my screen here, Smate. Just remember that this is only an 11% correction on Bitcoin. Now, recently, that's actually one of the larger pullbacks, but we've seen even this year a 30% correction on Bitcoin. You know, we saw that happen between January and April, and it was a very painful process. I think, and some people are even say, like, we're kind of monitoring that. Let's take a look at this indicator real quickly, the M2 money supply, because this is something I've been saying for a while. I don't think the 4-year cycle, oh, there you go. I don't think the 4-year cycle is over. I do think there's going to be a little correction towards the end of September, lining up with some people's 4-year cycle concerns, which if you guys want to hear more about that, I am going to be making a video later this week on why I think the 4-year cycle is over. I'm going to lay out exactly why I think the 4-year cycle is over. But even this here with M2 money supply, this is one of the things we've been watching here. Now we're going away from it a little bit, but overall it's saying we still should be rallying. It does show, if we follow it as closely as we've been following it for the last year and some change, it is showing that the end of September could be a dip that we really don't bottom out until closer towards the end of October. So a whole month of potentially negative action is what it's projecting. But what I'm watching right here is it looks like after that, the expectation is it goes back up. I will not be surprised if you watch the 4-year cycle crowd continue to roar and say, we're going, it's going, it's going. And what ends up happening is we get this bear trap somewhere here in the next couple of days this week. We rally into the end of September. We get the rate cuts. We're really high. Could Bitcoin be at 140 or 150, somewhere in that range? And then you take a little bit of a spill. Bitcoin corrects 20, hey, maybe 30% in that month. People go, oh, here we go. Bear market's here. 4-year cycle's done. And then we correct back down to like 120. The whales buy the dip and Bitcoin takes back off and crypto takes back off. I'm going to talk more about that in my video. I want to save some of the information. That video will be coming out Saturday. If you guys are looking forward, tomorrow we got a really special one. Unless something major happens tonight, the plan is tomorrow actually, it's going to be me and Shrum, mostly Shrum actually. We're going to talk about the 3 stocks that Shrum is buying right now and why you might not want to fade the stock market. Even though we love crypto, they're very interesting stocks right now you could be accumulating for some good diversification. On Thursdays, we're going to talk about 3 cryptocurrencies to avoid. I'm extremely bullish on this bull market. A lot of coins I like. I don't want to diversify into every coin out there, but there's a lot of coins I don't hold that if you told me, Tim, what do you think about this coin? I'd be like, hey, good coin. I think it's going to make you a lot of money. But we are going to talk about 3 coins that I would say, hey, hold the phone on these 3 coins. Maybe don't invest that much or anything into them, because these coins have some red flags that could either lose you money or barely make you any, and the reward just is nowhere close to the risk that's associated with them. So look forward to that. And then on Saturday, I will explain to you the 4-year cycle, why I think it's over, and why this time, I know people are going to laugh at this, while this time is actually different. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, as always, smash that like, hit subscribe, stick around, because right after this, Crux of Crypto, our fundamental expert, a video's coming out on his channel. Shum, what is that video's title again? I forgot.
Yeah, it's about the altcoin Kita. So I'll need to
Okay. Yep.
bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, that coin's not going to be on our 3 coins to avoid list. So you can go ahead and check that one off the list. Guys, we love you. We'll see you on Wednesday. Same time, same place. Love you.